Thomas Dooley really is the only American to ever really have coached in one of the top, one of the major five leagues. And of course, there were some squeaks and small talk about maybe Bruce Arena moving on to something eventually. Maybe coaching a championship team or something like that in England, but it never happened. I mean, is there a day? Do you see that in the distance somewhere where that's a possibility for an American manager? Are we gaining that
Oh,
kind of respect?
100%. I think it is a possibility, although I don't know if it will necessarily be in Europe. I think when you take a look at what's starting to happen with a lot of the Latino Americans who are plying their trade in Mexico, and I hope in the near future further south in South America,
Right.
that I think that the avenue might well be through a Mexico and then perhaps over to a Spain. I mean, you take a look at Steve Sampson,
Right.
and admittedly his World Cup did not go that great, but because his ability to speak Spanish helped him, he did get a few jobs down there. Now
Yep.
I think that you take a look at guys that we've heard of. Herculez Gomez has had a rebirth in soccer because he decided to not listen to the critics and not listen to guys in MLS who are saying, no, you have to play out wide. He goes, takes the chance, rolls the dice, and it pays off at Puebla. I think that you see that. You see some other guys like a Castillo, who unfortunately we don't have. Otherwise, he might have been called instead of Bornstein in the last game in this next one. Other guys like Marco Vidal, who's been plying his trade among the bullets in Juarez, and now is going to Puebla to be a teammate with Herculez. So I think that the next step might end up being a coach. Not sure which one, but obviously it wouldn't hurt if they spoke a little bit of Spanish.
Right.
But I think that there are some doors that are opening, and I still think that there's a lot of anti-Americanism out there, be it for political reasons, jealousy on other avenues, or just a belief that we don't know what we're doing.
There's a lot of those type of people that are here in the States as well that follow the U.S. team. I mean, I've been a Bob Bradley supporter since day one, and I've defended him amongst a lot of bloggers and posters on bloggers that just completely downright bash him. And they talk about how he doesn't know how to play. He bunkers too much. He doesn't play much offense. And I think this World Cup is really going to open their eyes, although I still think a lot of people are really going to downgrade what Bob has really brought to the United States.
Well, they will. I mean, he could win the World Cup, and, the first sentence in people's mouths is going to include the word but. So it's going to be interesting to find out how this one plays out. And I've had my problems with Bob Bradley, some of the selections. Like I was saying before, I would have loved to have seen Edgar Castillo get a little bit more of a chance. But he's stuck with Torres. If he's used him correctly, I don't know if we're really going to find out until maybe Brazil 2014. But he's given him a chance in this World Cup, and it didn't work out perfectly. He doesn't blame him. He basically says, you know what, things just needed to be tweaked a little bit. So he is open towards that. What is it, almost as many as Diego Maradona in regards to players used in qualifying. Yep. You're taking a look at a guy who, as you said, had the reputation of a bunker mentality, and if you've watched this World Cup and even the last round of qualifying, that has not been the case. I mean,
Absolutely.
There are times in Mexico City where you realize you might have to try and build a few barriers, but then there's other times, like we saw against Algeria, like we saw against Slovenia, it was end-to-end soccer. And I was listening to some of the comments in the games, and I know John Harkes was saying, this is risky, there's plenty of time. And in my mind, I know Harkes is basically going by the old mentality where, again, the game's 90-plus minutes. You're going to have time, wait for the opening, da-da-da-da. But what Bob Bradley was saying is, you know what, we've got to create as many opportunities as we can. And he also showed faith in the 4.5, 5 guys he had that were responsible for defense. Basically, it's not that we skipped the midfield. We just ran right through it. And when they came back the other way, not everyone came all the way back. There was some good play in the first half with Herculez Gomez tracking back. We know what Landon can do and Dempsey can do. And DeMarcus Beasley a little bit. We didn't see enough of it in this last game. Maybe we'll get a chance later in the Cup. But he basically says, I have faith in my defenders, and we need to go forward. When you have someone like Tim Howard, who, in my mind, still has not stamped himself as the best goalkeeper in U.S. history, but another win or two like this, and I think he'd be up there. I mean, with Casey Keller and Brad Friedel, they each had a game or a title that they could put next to their name, which kind of put them up in the pantheon. And I think that what we've seen from Tim Howard right now is basically the building of the foundation. Mm-hmm. And I don't know. Again, we're going to go in against Ghana probably as I don't want to say not so much a favorite or an underdog, pretty much level. Mm-hmm. Perhaps a similar story against South Korea, maybe a slight underdog against Uruguay, but remember they were the wild card team from South America and barely got past Costa Rica, who finished fourth in our qualifying that we won. So right. In many ways, he might not be facing a team that comes of that caliber where you can hang your career mm-hmm. on until we get to the semifinals. And I just hope he gets the opportunity because I like I said, I think he's been, except maybe for one play against Slovenia, outstanding in this tournament, and right. And we need him.